Tafshin Pei Daled. Yes?
Yes.
And we're learning Messilat Yesharim. I just want to remind you the layout as we spoke in the past. David knows this. We're learning Zrizut. Every character, every midah, right? Then the opposite of a midah, of a character, is image. The opposite of a midah is image. Because the image is like, I can do an act here and there, but a midah is something that you are that person. In other words, you're not just a person who does good, you're a person who is good. And a person who is good might do something bad, but it doesn't mean, but you're who you are, your personality is, so zeirut or zrizut. So we said there's two parts to one coin. If you want to be a tzaddik, which is what we all want to be, what we're all expected to be, you want to be a tzaddik, you have to have two character traits. Zeirut, which is being careful, watchfulness. And zrizut is active and passionate and excited and making things happen and not just sitting back and not doing anything wrong. It's not enough to just not do anything wrong. You have to do something right. So those are the two characters we work on. And the Ramchal breaks down every character you want to get to 4 parts. Klal is understanding the overview. Prat is understanding the details of what you have to do, not just understanding the big picture, but actually tell me step by step what I have to do. That's the prat. Kniya, which is motivation, because a lot of people know what to do, but they don't do it because they don't have motivation. And hefsed is maintenance and upkeep. So that's the layout for every chapter, for every character that we're working on. And we are right now at part 3 of the 4 parts of Zrizut. Okay, it also is, it's very, it's Hashgacha, but it's the Parsha of Lech Lecha. And Avraham Avinu is very, very active. He's fighting wars, he's doing things, he's all over, he's doing things, he's looking for guests, he's running. That's the excitement of the Avot, of Avraham Avinu. These were not people that just sat around waiting for something to happen, but they were creating opportunity. And they were excited and full of fire. So, right here, let's read inside. How will we motivate ourselves to have zrizut? Hem otam asher nikna bam hazehirut ומדרגותיהם כמדרגותיהם כמו שכתבתי למעלה כי עניינם קרוב זה לזה מאוד, אין הפרש ביניהם אלא שזה בעשין וזה בלווין. So he says, the Ramchal says to us, first of all, I already told you in the last character that we were working on Zeirut, that the world is broken down, motivation is broken down to 3 personality types. One is we call Shlemei Hadat. These are people who, the only reason why what motivates them is Lasot Nachat Ruach Leyotzreinu. They just want to give Hashem Nachat Ruach, like a son wants to just give joy to his father. He wants him to be happy in a healthy situation. He gets pleasure to see his father happy. He's not looking what he's going to gain out of it. What am I going to make out of it? What do I get out of it? That's Shlemei Hadat. Now we said Shlemei Hadat doesn't mean that they act that way. Hadat, in their understanding. And by the way, this is not giving, we're not giving here grades. Oh, you're Shlemei Hadat, you're the best. You're this, you're worse. No, it's just a person being aware, this is who I am, people are born this way, this is your personality, you need to know who you are and what motivates you. So Ramchal says that the motivation is split to 3 personality types. One is Shlemei Hadat, and first of all, it's a very important lesson, just this understanding that not everybody is educated in the same way. Everybody, you have to speak to each person, Chanoch lenar al pi darko. You have to educate the child based on what motivates him, and in a method that motivates him, and not, everybody does the same thing. The Ministry of Education that we have today, the education that we have, the system of education in the school system, for children, is based at 80%. They say average 80%. The people know they're average. The people, the 10% that are under the average and 10% that are over average, they suffer because they're not with the majority rules, and they suffer. So you need to challenge the people that have higher abilities. They need to be challenged and not be praised for doing so well. What's expected from them, and it creates a warped understanding of a person that needs to be always growing and movement. And the person below needs to be praised for his effort and to be helped. Anyway, so Shlemei Adat is one. Two is we call Pchutim. It doesn't mean low people. It just means they're on a different level. We'll explain in a minute what they are. And then there's the Hamon Ha'am, what we call the majority, the most people. This changed a little bit. Hamon Ha'am. Now, Shlemei Adat, like I said, they want to do good because it's what God wants, and it brings good to the world, and it's lasot nachat ruach le'otzreinu. It gives pleasure to God. That's what they're happy with. That's how you motivate them. Pchutim and the Hamon Ha'am, they want reward. They both want reward. The difference between the Pchutim and the Hamon Ha'am is that the Pchutim, they want spiritual reward. They want the next world. They want respect. They want a status. They want a spirit. It's not something that you buy. It's not something that you can feel. Olam haba, the next world, or to feel spiritually uplifted, to feel satisfaction, to feel a meaning, that they're doing something meaningful. They want reward. So they want, right, sachar ruchani. They want like a spiritual reward. You can't touch respect or the next world, but it's something. It's a reward. Hamon Ha'am, they want physical success in this world, or they don't want to be. How do you say? They don't want to suffer. They don't want to have any difficulty. They want everything in this world to go smoothly. They want success in this world, whether it's their business or their family with their children, right? So that's what they want. They don't care about respect, olam haba. They're not there. Nachut. And what?
Nachut,
like primitive, maybe. Like primitive, you're saying?
No, like Noach.
Nachat, nachut, comfort. Yeah, that's what they want. Comfort. Exactly. So the Ramchal says it's the same thing when it comes to zeirut, to zrizut, as zrizut. Same thing. What's the difference? When it comes to when we spoke in the chapter and we spoke about how do you motivate people for zeirut, to be careful, we said two things. We said omek hadin and chomer avodah, right? The seriousness of what you're doing, and chomer avodah, like the outcome, the serious outcome. Omek hadin, how serious it is, the outcome, and we explained these two things to these three different categories. We explained these two concepts, and these are both negative concepts. Omek hadin, judgment. There's judgment. You thought you're a soldier, and you thought you're guarding a doghouse, but actually underneath there's a nuclear plant. Whoa! Now I understand Omek hadin. I thought that if a terrorist comes, he kills the dog. It's not such a big deal. But if this is the nuclear plant, suddenly I'm very serious. I didn't understand that. So each person you explain that concept of Omek hadin and chomer avodah, how precious, how important, how serious it is, how the responsibility you have, but that's in zeirut. Zrizut, what does he say? כאשר יתאמד אצל האדם גודל ערך המצוות ורוב חובתו בהם. Here, גודל ערך המצוות. We're talking about a person being excited, a person getting excited and on being on fire and passionate about doing zrizut, about running to do mitzvot, right? You can't talk negative for that. The only way to motivate positivity for someone to run and do things with excitement is to understand the beauty. Godel erech hamitzvot verov chovato bahem. ודאי שיתעורר ליבו אל העבודה ולא יתרפא ממנה. If a person would just understand גודל ערך המצוות, what do you understand what happens when you do a mitzvah? We could talk about this forever. Basically, in this one line, and the same thing the Ramchal did when he in the chapter of Zehirut, when he spoke to the Shlemei Adat, very short. He says, now go expand on this. I'm going to give you one line of motivation. Now go and expand on that. Go and find books that talk about Godel Erech HaMitzvot Verov Chovato Bahem. Do you, like, there's many stories. Someone came to Rav Kook and said, Rabbi, I'm depressed. I'm not happy. Do you have any tricks that can make a person be happy easily without hard work? He said, okay, let's say I would tell you that I need you to do something very small. Simple act. But it will uplift yourself and the whole entire world, and it will change the whole reality of this world by this small act that I need you to do. Would you do it? Yes. Would you be happy doing it? Very. That's what a mitzvah is. The Rambam says, whenever you do a mitzvah, you have to imagine the world is on this like scale, 50-50. This one act that you did just put everything up, made the whole world zakai. So again, the Rabbi gives one short line. Ve'omnam, and now we're moving on to the pchutim. Ve'omnam, מה שיוכל להגביר ההתעוררות הזה הוא ההסתכלות ברוב הטובות שהקדוש ברוך הוא עושה עם האדם בכל עת ובכל שעה. והנפלאות הגדולות שעושה עם המת הלידה ועד יום האחרון. Now, when we're talking about having zrizut, a person to run out there, go conquer the world, go run there, be creative, be proactive, be like create opportunities, go and make positivity in the world. You're talking about, as we spoke in the first chapter, the first klal, and we spoke in the big overview. You're talking about going against your nature. Because our nature, we come from earth. We're in this world. There's gravity. Our natural tendency is to be heavy. We come from dirt, from materialism, chomer, chomriyut. It's heavy. We're in the mud, right? We're from chomer. We're made from afar. So we're in this. We have this heavy adama. Adam is adama. We come from the adama. We have this very heavy draw that's pulling us down. That's laziness is built in, and for us to want to have zrizut, to do mitzvot, we have to go against our nature. We have to go against our natural state of being. Right? I want to sleep more? Why should I get up for davening? It's cold. It's dark. It's like I get up. You daven before. Some people daven before. If you daven nates, you get up before it's even dark out. Why would I? Let me sleep. It's cold. I want to enjoy. It's a pleasure. It's enjoyment sleeping. Right? Just one example. But everything, all the mitzvah. Why would I use my money for mitzvah? Everything. It's you have to overcome laziness. This heavy feeling. It's like the metal ball that's pulling you down, and you have to be swimming upstream. In order to do that, the Ramchal, with his great genius, he says we're trying to conquer a very difficult battle. Very difficult battle. We're trying to conquer laziness. How do I conquer laziness? The answer is very simple, says the Ramchal. You want to conquer a city, and you see the walls are humongous. And there's guards at the walls. And there's big rivers around with like crocodiles. And there's, right, guards and there's walls. How do you conquer the city? There's one simple way. If you have an inside man, if there's somebody that is a spy, and he tells you what's going on inside, and he opens the door for you and lets you in, he has the keys. who is the inside man?
The gatekeeper.
Who's the inside man that we have within nature that can open the door and let us in and help us conquer this huge fortified city of laziness, for us to become zrizut, to go against our nature? Who is that inside man? The answer?
Obvious.
What?
God.
God is always there, but he helps us through natural things that we have in the world. What is the natural force that could help us overcome all laziness, all difficulty, that we could use that natural
I don't know how to place it.
force,
Feels like conscience.
natural force to go in?
Conscience.
You're a genius. You're a genius. The conscience. What is conscience? What does that mean? It means if I come to you and I say, wait, remind me your name again, sir.
Yosef.
I say, Yosef. I call you up. I say, Yosef, I need you tomorrow at 3 o'clock in the morning to come help me take my fridge out of my house, to carry it down and put it into the truck because I'm moving apartments. So you'll say, this guy's crazy. No way. But if we, let's say, who knows, we were best friends in the whole world and I did for you everything you needed and I was always there for you, and I came to you and I said, I need this favor, he would say, no problem. He's traveling, this, that, whatever the reason is, he needs me there at 3 o'clock in the morning. He's done so much for me. My conscience says, I feel bad. He did it for me. I need to do it for him. Hakarat hatov. That's what the Ramchal is saying here. Hakarat hatov. This concept of being grateful for what you've been given. Now, we, day to day, we have a hard time understanding that God gives us everything. Even our mother, Leah, says she was punished because she knew that they knew, the mothers knew, there was 4 mothers, they knew there was going to be 12 tribes. And she said she had Reuven, Levi, Shimon. She had 3 children. Great. Then she had 4. She said, wait. There's 4 mothers. Each one's supposed to have 3. I just got 4? I just got more than I'm supposed to get? Now, ata odet Hashem. Now I'll thank Hashem. Unfortunately, and it says, Vatamod miledet. She got punished. That's it. You're not having any more children. In other words, we have this very powerful desire, something called entitlement. I deserve everything. God works for me. He has to give me everything. So why should I thank him? Why should I thank him? Why do I owe him anything? He owes me everything. God put me in the world. He owes me everything. I'm a Jew. I come from Avraham and Yaakov, but God owes me. Most people walk around feeling entitled. Even like we said, Leah, she made this mistake. And this takes a complete switch that we have to all make. Some people, it may help you. People going to hospitals. That's why you go to hospitals and you see what it means. There's a story once. Rabbi Avram Even Ezra. He was very, very poor. And he refused to take tzedakah from his students. But he was one of the greatest leaders. So his students decided he won't take money. What we'll do is, in the morning, he walks from his house to shul, a long straight path. We'll put bills of money. And that way, when he walks by, when you find a bill that has no mark, no simanim, and it's just thrown on the road, there's nobody to give it back to. It's yours. He said, "We'll put it, and then it'll be his, and he'll have the money. He won't take it from us." So here, he found it. Hashem sent him. They're watching. They see the rabbi walk out of his house, walk, straight, past every bill. Didn't pick anything up. They don't understand. they come to shul and they say, Rabbi, did you see anything on your way to shul? Nothing. Rabbi, can't be. You didn't see anything like on the road, something like paper, nothing. Rabbi, it can't be. There was something there, and you missed. He like stepped on it even. He said, let me tell you what happened. I woke up in the morning feeling hungry and feeling so much pain for how much I'm lacking of things I need. And then I said, you know what? Today, when I walk out of my house, I'm going to close my eyes. I'm going to imagine that I got some rare eye disease. And I had to go to beg people for money that I could get a boat ride to the big city and do a very complicated operation and go through suffering and all this. And then I got to shul, I opened my eyes, and I said, Baruch atah Hashem Elokeinu melech haolam pokeach ivrim. And he said, do you know, so the student said to him, Rabbi, do you know that we left you money on the road? He says, I don't have luck. He says, if I would bury people, nobody would die. I just don't have luck. That's the story. But the story is to tell us about this Hakarat HaTov. Another important story is that the Chafetz Chaim tells a story of a woman who's sitting there selling apples, and some bad guy comes and knocks over the apples. And she's standing there crying, my apples, my apples! And everybody's grabbing them. One smart person walks by and says, stop screaming. Grab your apples. Grab how many you could grab. It's a complete, just switch in mind. Oh, wait, you're right. Okay, the apple's already gone. Am I going to stand there crying, screaming, or am I going to take what I can? Same thing. Say this is a very, very important lesson. The lesson of Hakarat HaTov. There's a book called Chovat HaLevavot. The first book of Tikkun Midot is called Duties of the Heart. There's a whole chapter there called Shar HaBchina. The whole chapter goes through each detail of seeing, smelling, hearing, touching. It goes through each detail that you may take for granted. You don't understand what a gift this is, how this is not obvious. People who suddenly can't breathe, suddenly can't see, can't hear. People will pay any amounts of money, and the difficulties you go through. Nothing is obvious. Nothing you can take for granted. So he says, for this type of person, the Pchutim, they can understand this, a person and other people also. The idea of a Hakarat HaTov is a very powerful tool. It's difficult because God does not give us things directly. We don't get it directly from God, right? He doesn't give us rain just out of nowhere. It comes with the clouds. So we forget many times that who's the source of everything, right? The Torah, even God didn't give us directly. He gave it to Moshe Rabbeinu. Moshe Rabbeinu gave it to us. God works through all kinds of messengers. That's how God works. He has messengers. He has things work through other ways, and it's sometimes we forget and we lose track of where it's coming from. So first of all, the foundation, the basis that the Chovat HaLevavot speaks about, Hakarat HaTov, he says, God is asking you. He's giving you everything. What's he asking you in return? This is one way to look at it. It's not like Shlemei Adat, Lasot Lachat Ruach. No, God's saying, I give to you everything. I give you your life, your air, your breathe, your seeing. I give you food. I give you everything. What am I asking from you? Do my mitzvot. It's an obligation. The mitzvot means that I command, mitzaveh. I command you to do it. I want you to do this. I give to you. You have to give back. A healthy person has a feeling of, I need to give back. I have my conscience. It hurts me. It bothers me that I'm getting, and I'm never giving. In Hebrew, you call it asir todah. Somebody who, they say, ani asir todah. You're like a slave. If someone gives you something, you're now a slave to them. When you give back, you're freed. That's why it says soneh matanot yichya. A person who, it says in Mishlei, a person who hates getting gifts is alive, because when you're just living off gifts and you're not giving anything back, you feel like you're worthless. You feel like you're a slave to this person. But when you give back, you feel it's liberating, right? So there's an aspect of, maybe some people, this will motivate them. Just do the mitzvot because you are paying back a fraction. What am I paying? What God needs what I'm giving? The mother comes home with cucumbers. The child takes a cucumber, wraps it in tin foil, and comes to the mother. I have a gift for you. Does that make the mother happy? Super happy. That's what we do, right? Ki hakol shelach umiyad. Everything is yours, but we give back to you from what you give us, and that's what God wants. The mitzvot is you do it out of hakarat hatov. Get up in the morning. You don't want to get up. You think, wait. He gives me so much. How could I not give back to him? I'm getting up. He asked me to give to him. And he gives to me all the time. But this only could come if you really understand what you're getting. Okay? So just a few words here from the Rav Kook. So the Rav Kook says that when you look at how much good God is giving you, right? It makes you want to do the mitzvahs. It makes you want to give back. Rav Kook adds one thing. He just says that actually this regesh, this feeling of hakarat hatov, of wanting to give back, when it expands, it's going to actually bring all of mankind, all of humanity, to want to fix the reality, to uplift this world as being grateful to God for all the good that He gives us. And by the way, there's also, when it comes to tikkun midot, there's always this, in midot, it's all about balance, right? Midot, what we call character traits, it's all about balance. It's not about, you can't go to any extreme in any midot. And you're always having to weigh, right? You have to always weigh one midah against the next, right? What happens? A woman, it's derech eretz to speak with a woman, but there's tzniut. It's not tzanua to talk with a woman. The tzniut overtakes it. Don't have conversations with women, because even though we want to have, friendships and friendly, you say hello. You don't start having friendly conversations with a woman, because the value of tzniut overtakes the value of friendship when it comes to men and women. What do you do when the two values are clashing? When it comes to, I'm giving a gift to you, I want you to say thank you for the gift. But on the other hand, I want to give the gift just because I want to do good. I don't want you to know that I'm even giving it. So here, I will be uplifted because I know I'm doing something good and I don't even need to be thanked. But you need to thank because you need to have a hakarat hatov. Which one overtakes?
hakarat hatov.
Hanoten matana lechavero chayav lehodio. Because it's so important for that person to say thank you, it overtakes your personal spiritual growth of them not knowing. Because that midah is so powerful. Okay? Now, the Rav Kook says, so here with the Ramchal says, right, to think about rov tovot that God is doing for you at every moment, right? What God's done for you since you were born until today. How much good did God give you? Right? Rav Kook says here also, you could also go to a higher level and actually think about not just what He gives to you, but what God gives to the whole world, right? Not just for, that's a low level, just to think of yourself, but for everybody. And he says, the more you look into it and understand, like we said, look at the chapter of Shar HaBchina in Chovat HaLevavot. They have the book over there. The more you learn about that, you'll feel more of this obligation. This will motivate you. This will help you overcome this heavy the heaviness of laziness and everything else. Learn about it, expand in it, understand it, right? Like we said, and this will help you. כי הרי הואיל ואינו יכול ודאי לגמול לו טובות יתברך לפחות יודע לשמוע וקיים מצוותיו. You can't give back to him, so just do what he asked you to do. This is what God wants from you. God needs my mitzvahs. You have to be, yes, as far as you're concerned, God needs your mitzvahs. That's how you have to look at it. God needs it. Does he really, really need it? It's another thing, right? Obviously, God is complete and he's whole and he's not lacking anything. But he does it for us. But that's the way we need to understand it. And there is nobody in any situation that you are. There's no such a thing of anybody who could say, I don't have a reason to thank God. Whether you're rich, whether you're poor, whether you're sick, whether you're healthy. You could always see so much miracles and wonders in your situation. You have to just open your eyes. If you're rich and healthy, that's easy. If you're rich and healthy, what's the question? Right? You have money and you have health. So what's the problem? That's easy to see. Even though we spoke about in the first chapter, Shlomo Meir said, God, don't make me too rich because I'll forget you. Right? Don't make me too poor because I'll steal. But still, if you're rich and you're healthy, well, you think it's obvious that you're rich? People go bankrupt overnight. People, we see, there was in the stock crash in 2008, people jumped out the window. They lost everything overnight. I was once sitting with 4 billionaires, with students, and they asked them questions. Tell us something about how your faith in God helped you during a hard time. The first billionaire says, 2008, the stock crash. I was 35 years old. I didn't take it so hard. I just had a heart attack on the spot. And he was fully healthy. Heart attack at 35. The next guy. What about you? I don't have to talk about 2008. Anytime that, if I'm told on Friday, we lost some money, $100,000, my Shabbos is ruined. I have the worst Shabbos. So I made a rule. Nobody tells me about anything we lost on Friday. You tell me Sunday. I don't want to know. I don't care if I lost $10 million. Don't tell me until Sunday. The third billionaire says, oh, I didn't take it too hard. I only tried to jump out the window and kill myself. Until today, I'm taking medicine for mental illness. So you see, it's not that because you have money that you have it and that you're set. So when you're rich and healthy, that's easy. Ha'ani, a poor person, chayav lo afilu be'onyo, mamtzi lo parnaso derech nes v'pele ve'no meniach hamut barab. Did you die of starvation? You're poor. Did you die of starvation? No. So you have to thank God for the fact that you are eating something, for what you do have. Even if it's barely anything, you still have it. God, what you got till today we spoke about also. Hachole, you're sick. Al shemachziko bekovet chol yom hakatov eino mechol oret shachat. A person that's sick. Even if you're sick and God does not allow you to die, just that alone is a great gift. We also see from there was three servants of Paro when he said, what should I do with the Jews? Yitro said, right, don't do anything, help the Jews. And he ran away, he got a gift to be Yitro Choten Moshe. Bilam said, kill them, destroy them. He got killed. And Eov didn't say anything. He got punished with lots of sickness and suffering. So we see that sickness and suffering is a gift. It's not, we don't want it, we're not asking for it, but as long as yours alive, it's a gift. And this is what it says here. Kol sheken, right? The kol sheken, No, there's nobody who cannot find things that you need to thank God for all the good that He's giving you, and that will motivate you. So that's Ad Kan. Till here, we're talking the Pchutim. That's the motivation they need. This conscience, right? Conscience is something you can't really touch, but it's a powerful tool, and it helps the Pchutim. Right? I just want to see here. Rav Kook says, one thing here. Rav Kook says that, as the Ramchal says, right, you can't do anything, give anything back to God. Rav Kook says, I agree, you can't give to God, but when you are doing God's will, right, then you are actually giving to God. Why? Because He's happy in His creations. He's happy that he's happy He created these creations, and that's really giving something to God. Okay, the Rav Ramchal says that someone rich or healthy, right? Obviously, it's easy for them to thank God, but person that's sick or poor, Rav Kook says, how do you thank God when you're sick and poor? Rav Kook says that basically your hakarat tov, your feeling grateful, has to be for the spiritual gifts that He's giving you. There's something, the Shechina's above your head when you're sick. You're being, how do you say, you're being fixed, you're being uplifted. There's all kinds of things that happen. You're going through a process. It's not just for no reason. You get sick because there's a spiritual process you need to be going through, and unfortunately, without that, you wouldn't get there. And that's what Rav Kook says. Before we get to the last one, we have 10 minutes left. A few ideas from Rav Kook here. The Ramchal says that a poor person and a sick person, and this is obviously the question, is how does a poor person and sick person thank God and bring them to motivated to thank God? So Rav Kook says that when you realize not everybody is poor all the time, not everyone is sick all the time, and when you are poor, you are sick, like during the corona, I know financially for me it was like, wow, it was a real challenge. But it makes you realize that was a temporary, right? Or a war. It's a temporary thing. In general, we don't have that situation. So even those temporary things, the difficulty, it makes you be grateful for the regular times that you had parnasa, or you were okay, right? We thought was obvious, but it helps you see the big picture, right? Like we said, like the Rambam says, the majority of life is good. There's good, there's bad, but the majority is good. One more thing, the Ramchal says that how will a poor person, a sick person thank God? At least He's keeping you alive. The Rav Kook says that it's very difficult. Some person who's suffering, it's very difficult to be grateful as long as you're looking at your own personal gain. But if you understand how you being sick is actually helping a lot of people are getting good because you have circles surrounded around you, your family, your friends, your community, and you have effects on that, and it uplifts morally everyone around you. Then you could thank Hashem for your suffering. And the Ramchal says one more thing. The Rav Kook says another thing. When a person is sick and your body, fails on you, it makes you realize that actually the spiritual world is holding you up. So there's a connecting into the spiritual world at that moment, at that time, that it's only the spiritual that's really holding it. And that's really why we get sick, is because to awaken the goodness in us, the amunah, the faith, right? We're not running after jealousy. We're not in the the big world of jealousy and kavod and kina and tava and anger. Like, we're not there. We let go of everything. Sickness brings us to this place where we let go and we become more refined. Okay, so let's go on to the last part, the last group. Hamon Ha'am is Hamon Ha'am. Now here it says the kol yitzavazech and wait. Kol sheken mitbonen hiyot kol tuvo talui bo yitbarach. Oh, the third group. Do you understand that kol tuvo? You want to have good things in life? There's no backup plan. There's no, okay, you know what, if this happens, no problem, I have money in the bank. If I lose my job, I have savings.
Yeah.
No, if God closes the faucet, nothing, you will not have anything, there's no backup plan. There is no backup plan. Right? When you think about it, look into it, bistaklo, right? You want to have success, you want to have good things, Kol tuvo talui beyado yitbarach. There's no plan B. There's no backup plan. There's only God. There's no way to run, no way to hide. There's no savings. There's nothing that you could do, that a person can do. And therefore, if kol tuvo talui beyado yitbarach, u'ma shemitztarech lo, u'ma shemuchrach elav mimenu yitbarach, v'lo ma'acher, there's no one else that could help you. Stop thinking that somebody could save me. Nobody could save you. If God doesn't want someone to save you, nobody could save you. And obviously you won't be lazy because you'll say, whoa, I don't want him to close the faucet. He's the boss of all bosses. He's the finance minister. He's the source of everything. And there is no way to bypass God. When you understand that, all of your success in life, physical success, is dependent on God, and He's asking you to fulfill your obligations, to do the mitzvot. Here we're talking about mitzvot aseh. So now you see here, מה שקלטתי פה בדבריי, שלושת המדרגות אשר חילקתים בזהירות. These are the three groups. I spoke about the three groups. And כי כבר עניינם אחד, they're really all the same thing. You need to motivate yourself. והדבר למד בעניינו, שלמי הדעת תהיה הרע מצד החובה. שלמי הדעת is the greatness, the obligation. What an honor I have this obligation. ומצד ערך המעשים וחשיבותם, I understand the value, the importance, right, of the actions. לפחותים מצד עולם הבא וכבודו, שלא תשיגהו בושה ליום הגמול בראותו הטובה שיכול להשיג ואיבדה. If you don't give back, you're not going to get. This is like a simple thing. They have like this obligation. We said the conscience, la'amon mitzad ha'olam hazeh u'tzrachav, and for the masses is this world and the needs that you have and the success you want. And that's ad kan. We finished what the Rav Kook was saying. So one last thing. So this I just want to prepare us for next week, which is very important. So next week we're talking. Everything is. I think that it's how do you say, very timely. Kadosh Baruch Hu worked it out that we're learning this now. Because there's war and there's all these these difficulties and some people are panicking and not functioning, and when you think about it, wait, yes, we had a lot of people were killed, but how many? We have millions alive. We have a state. We have an army. We have how much to be grateful for. In the past 2,000 years, there was pogroms like this every other day. And we just would lose thousands of people, murdered, killed, raped, every possible terrible thing in the world. And then we just moved on. We waited for the wave to pass, and this is the first time that we don't just let it pass. Yes, we caught from surprise. Yes, we lost a battle, but the war we did not lose, and we're fighting back. And this is incredible hakarat hatov that we have to God, to reframe, look at things in a new perspective, a new proportion. Yes, it's painful, and anyone who lost anyone personally, that's beyond belief, beyond understanding, because that's their whole world. But to see the big picture, the Jewish nation is back, We are no longer a sheep within 70 nations. We're, we're the sheep that now has a machine gun. And the nations are all say, wait, you're not supposed to, that's not how it's supposed to work. Too bad. And so this is one thing. So that's a hakarat tov, this idea of being grateful and seeing things in a new light. It's not, it's, we have so much to be grateful for and so much to be thankful for and happy about. And not let the enemy break our spirit and our motivation, our excitement. So we have so much to be motivated and excited about and grateful for. That we're alive and we just see the evil and see how much there's 500 million enemies around us that are just waiting to swallow us up. The enemy inside and the enemies around and everything. And God keeps us, like we said, nes vafele, the miracle and the wonder, even if we're suffering, that God, right? So that's just one understanding. And so the last things I just wanted to prepare you for next week. Motivation, upkeep. We did motivation. Upkeep and maintenance is the number one thing that stops us, makes us lose our excitement, our zrizut, is fear. So next week's class is all about how to combat fear. How do we fight this force of fear that paralyzes us, the fear that makes us dysfunctional, the fear that our enemies are trying so hard to instill in us with this terrorism, and how do we overcome it, which is next week, because it's very timely. So first is a hakarat tov. First, be grateful for being alive. Be grateful for all the good that Hashem is giving us. I'm talking to myself. And next week, we'll learn how to overcome fear, and which is very important, I think, especially during this time. Shabbat Shalom. Oh, it's not Shabbat Shalom. I used to teach Thursday, so.